In a season of scintillating political hypocrisies, it's not easy to find as spectacular a shift in as short a time as the Congress party's position on Arvind Kejriwal's arrest. As the Enforcement Directorate arrested the Delhi Chief Minister on Thursday night, a small lineup of Delhi Congress leaders faced the ignominy and humiliation of having to troop to Kejriwal's residence and make public comments in his support. Well, among this group that was dispatched to uphold at least a semblance of alliance, brotherhood and dharma was the figure of Congress leader Sandeep Dixit. That's right, the son of late Congress veteran and Delhi Chief Minister Sheila Dixit. Even he, who had taken something of a blood oath against the Aam Aadmi Party for what the latter did to his mother's reputation towards the end of her political career, even he had to be there to speak for Kejriwal. Admirers of the Congress would suggest that this uncomfortable situation is actually an indicator and an affirmation of the Congress party's true democratic and constitutional values, that it has placed the lofty ideal of ousting a so-called fascist enemy far above political differences with the Aam Aadmi Party. That by being there for Kejriwal, despite past animosities, the Congress has shown that this is truly a vichardhara ki ladai and not some desperate bid for power. Now let's unpack all of these counters one by one so I can demonstrate for you why I think this is this election season's most spectacular hypocrisy, and that really is saying something given how many hypocrisies we're surrounded by virtually every single party. First, the Congress-Aam Aadmi Party relationship isn't defined by past animosities. To dismiss that last decade and a half as the ebb and flow of political power would be to totally underplay and understate what the Aam Aadmi Party really did to the Congress party. Not just was the AAP and Kejriwal instrumental in destroying the Congress's reputation and catalyzing its fall from power, it is this Aam Aadmi Party that has made the Congress virtually extinct, actually completely extinct in the national capital and now also in Punjab. It is literally Congress space, as it were, that now stands occupied and more by Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party. In other words, when Sandeep Dixit and co. were defending Kejriwal last night outside his residence, they were literally standing for their destroyer, the man responsible for them being rank nobodies now on their own turf. A man whose rising power has forced even a Sandeep Dixit to abandon his sense of hurt over what happened to his mother in order to defend the man who dished it out to her. Second, and this actually makes things a whole lot worse in my view, few know that it was the Congress party itself that actually must take the credit for the Liquorgate investigation. Did you know that it was on the 3rd of June 2022 that the Delhi Congress first registered a complaint with the Delhi police regarding the Aam Aadmi Party government's liquor excise policy? I hold in my hand a copy of that complaint. In the months that followed, its most prominent faces have attacked the Aam Aadmi Party leadership, Ajay Maken and many others, spelling out in detail how they believe, how they allege that crores have been looted in the name of a government policy. In other words, the Congress party is now having to speak for a man arrested in a case that was literally the result of their original complaint. Now let's assume for a second that the Congress party's argument holds water, that the BJP government's crackdown on opposition leaders and the misuse of agencies leaves the Congress party without the luxury of nursing its old hostilities and allowing the previous divides to prevail. That isn't hard to digest, considering that alliances are by their very nature layered with contradictions and hypocrisies. The BJP-led NDA has no shortage of its own internal contradictions and hypocrisies. But in this specific instance, viewer, the Congress is also signaling that in its fight against the Modi machine, it is willing to compromise on issues of alleged corruption. Remember, this case is still under investigation. That for reasons of survival and political pressures, it is willing to negotiate on an issue of corruption that the Congress party itself triggered. It was the genesis of this corruption investigation. This compromise is precisely what the Congress correctly accuses the BJP of when it comes to people like Ajit Pawar, Himanta Biswa Sarma, Shuvendu Adhikari, and a litany of others who've been accused of being admitted through the BJP's famous washing machine. What does the Congress stand on now when it stands for someone who has been arrested in a case that the Congress publicly and correctly takes credit for? something that the Congress has been attacking Arvind Kejriwal for not years ago, but barely weeks and months ago. For the Congress party, a night of solidarity with a once sworn enemy is a sign of the times that goes beyond just the bread and butter compulsions, in my view, of everyday politics. It's a reminder that Indian politics just isn't for beginners.